gals. David Costa, Renegade Aviator. Stay right there because I am going to save you some money. So listen up. Here we go. Come on out and see me and a ton of cool airshow performers at the Moses Lake Air Show, June 15th and 16th. Military and civilian, and a few surprises that you won't want to miss. Go check out the website, moseslakeairshow.com, and stay right here because I'm going to save you some money. Make sure you follow Renegade Aviator on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, our webpage. It's all the same, Renegade AV8R. It's down below. Take a look. Like, share, follow, and use the code Father's Day for the Moses Lake Air Show, June 15th and 16th at Grant County International Airport up in Moses Lake, Washington. It's going to be an outstanding event, and you'll see me there. I'll be performing, and I'm looking forward to meet each and every one of you. Thanks for following Moses Lake Live each week. Use the code Father's Day. Use the code because this code saves you 10% on any ticket option, even the VIP tickets, guys and gals. The best airshow experience, baby. Go to moseslakeairshow.com. Look for tickets in the upper right corner, and on checkout, use the code Father's Day, and you're going to save 10%. Tickets are the cheapest right now. The price goes up as we get closer, and VIP tickets are very limited. That's where I hang out. I hang out with the VIPs. Go to moseslakeairshow.com. And I got to get back to work. It's a tough life here as an aviator. We work really hard. It's so stressful. Looking out the window, looking at all the beautiful clouds. Flying airplanes every day. I don't know how I do it. It's absolutely excruciating. The code is super easy to remember. Father's Day. Father's Day all smashed together. Use that code, save 10% on your tickets to the Moses Lake Air Show. Your dad wants you to take him to the Moses Lake Air Show. And you know what? If you can't find a father, find a mother, find a brother, find a sister from a brother from another mother. It doesn't matter. This is Dave Costa. I am the Renegade Aviator. MosesLakeAirShow.com. See ya. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, you got it. We are live and in person. It's a rare glimpse of the Renegade Aviator at home. I'm not traveling this week, but I am pleased and blessed to be here for another Moses Lake Live. And we are here to talk about airplanes. We're getting really close to the Moses Lake Air Show. So we're here to talk airplanes, talk to airplane pilots, talk to air show pilots, talk to people that are out there doing cool stuff. And my special guest today is Mr. John Melby, FearBOSS. So I'm a scary guy, right? I cause a lot of fear in the people that are forced to deal with me, but FearBOSS has got a far better mission than Renegade Aviator does. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome John Melby, FearBOSS, who you're going to see flying over the skies of Moses Lake, Washington, flying his pits. John, welcome to Moses Lake Live.
Hey, Dave. Thanks. And welcome, everybody. Glad to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right on, man. Well, John, you know, you've got a high energy act, right? So tell us a little bit about your airplane. Tell us a little bit about what people can see when they come out to Moses Lake and watch you fly, man.
Sure. So I've been in the business as a professional air show pilot for 22 years now. So I started in 2002, and I fly the biplane. A lot of people are flying the new model wings. They're high energy, $700,000 carbon fiber, look like a remote control plane. I'm kind of old school, and I just like biplanes. And I started with that because I saw the Great Waldo Pepper when I was a kid, and it starred, oh, come on, Dave, who did it star?
Man, some famous guy that's now old like me,
Yeah, one of those
older.
guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I saw him and they had triplanes and biplanes, and I was a kid and I was like, oh my gosh, someday I want to fly one of those. Well, and the one that was in that particular movie, they had a black biplane or triplane with checkerboard tails. So all my biplanes I've had have had that yellow, black and yellow checkerboard. And so I'm flying. I've had this airplane. It's called the Pitts S111B. It's made by Aviat. They're made in Afton, Wyoming. They only built three of these. Mine is the only one that's original uh, left, and so they built the three, and then Mike Wiskus, former
Oh, yeah.
air show pilot, he had number three. Mine was number two, and I modified it to fly air shows, and I just love it. It's got a 350-ish horsepower motor, weighs about empty with nothing in, around 1,300 pounds, as a carbon fiber propeller made by Hartzell. It's called the Claw. So it's foam wrapped with carbon fiber. So it's very lightweight. So the airplane, it's just pure power, and it's kind of fun when I climb out at, for you pilots, I climb out at 5,000 feet per minute. If you see a Cessna or like a light metal airplane for training, they climb out around 900 to 1,000 feet per minute. So it's a little rocket ship. When I cruise, like I'm up at altitude, it's very difficult because it's not stable. It's constantly going all over the place. So it's actually taxing if you fly for a long time because there's no autopilot. My name is Otto. And I got a beef jerky on one side, water on the other, and I got my headsets listening to 70s disco music. And I cruise at about 170 knots, which is about 190 miles per hour. And I usually fly for about 2 hours and 20 minutes because I can't take it anymore. So I got to land, get some gas, and talk to people and keep pressing on. But I absolutely love the business. I love air shows, Dave, just like you do. I love the people. I'm not doing it for my own edification. I do it so I can help encourage others. One, to don't let your kids become air show pilots. Don't do this. But airplanes are fun. And just like for those of you that drive in the snow and you're experts at it in the ice, that's what we are as professional air show pilots. We're not daredevils. We're actually very skilled aviators, and I don't want to do anything to get myself hurt. And after 22 years, so far so good.
Well, and that's something key. This is not daredevil stuff. You talk about fear and overcoming fear and doing things like this. Well, this is very precise. Imagine you become an expert after 10,000 hours plus of practice. So this is not, we're here, as I say, air shows demonstrate excellence.
Right.
Air shows do not demonstrate how crazy we are. And a lot of that, to your point, that you are doing some coaching and things like that to help people overcome their fear, is it's not scary when you start making those positive steps in a direction towards a worthy goal. And air shows are a great way to kind of demonstrate that. Am I off base?
No, you're right on base, Dave. But really, Dave, you know what this is? Let's keep it simple. It's a Texas two-step. So in order to get around the dance floor, you got to go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And if you're that type of person, it's like, I don't want to get on the dance floor because I don't know how to dance, but yet you feel that tugging inside that maybe like I play instruments, I play in a band, and I really love music. But to start with that, guess what you have to do? You have to practice. And I play guitar and piano, keyboards, but you can see it behind me, and your fingers hurt. But that's just part of the deal. And the more you practice, the better you get. And that comfort factor is there. So that's part of the dance floor, is just get out there, make a fool of yourself by learning. And then once you grab somebody who's maybe already doing this today, they're really good at it and they want to mentor you. And if it's something that you really need to do, then try it. So Dave and I, what we do is, we're as performers, along with other performers, when we talk to the crowd, they'll say, I've always wanted to fly. I don't know, Dave, if you ever get this, but I've
All the
always
time.
wanted to fly, but oh, this and that, and they got a million excuses. Then I usually is like, well, do you have any other excuses?
Yeah.
Uh, it's like I didn't have any money and I had to learn how to do it. And I was like the rest of us out there, we just figured out how to work our way through it. And then I'll tell you what, the most beautiful thing about aviation and becoming a pilot, of course, Dave and I are both advocates for that. And he mentioned that in his intro, is that when you're up flying, you can take the cell phone, put it away. You're not talking to anybody, you're not texting. And it's like a hot knife through butter. You just curve, you can go by clouds, and there's limits because we're restricted by the FAA. but then
Yeah.
we also, but we follow the rules of the road because we're professionals. But the thing is, it's just so beautiful, and it really is a wonderful thing.
Well, right on. And you fly an airplane that is a fairly demanding airplane to fly, as opposed to what I fly. A jet where feet are on the floor. You've got an airplane that will command your attention. That's a great shot of you taking off there. Just absolutely love the pits. And you mentioned it. Nothing against the monoplanes, right? But air shows are about seeing different aircraft, different airplanes fly, and the pits is. An airplane that anybody can buy
Mhm.
and get started in aerobatics and learn properly and learn how to fly aerobatics. I think all of us used to be nervous doing a stall. Now look at you rolling over the skies there of the
With my eyes
airport.
closed, Dave.
Yeah. That's
Well, part of the thing is like when you first, and I don't know about you, Dave, but when I'm flying, practicing, for example, I'll go to a practice at one of our major airports. It's got a tower, so it's bigger than most. And there's a lot of students there. And when I get to the end of the runway, I have to do an engine run up. And I get my engine run up out of the way, and I hear there's a plane, because I switch over to tower frequency, and the plane next to me has got some younger person in there, and they're like, "Tower, this is Cessna XY53, first time solo." My hair stands up in the back of my head because I remember that day. I remember taking off, my instructor's not there, and the exhilaration, the excitement, the nervousness. I mean, all the stuff comes into one big package. But the
yeah.
cool part is I made it back alive, and I remember that feeling, and I was so excited, and I've had this multiple times where and I get on the radio, you're not supposed to, but I'm like, "Congratulations," it's
Yeah.
wonderful, and that's really, the inspiration behind doing all the stuff at the air show, and it's a community event, so Moses Lake is a community event. It's to demonstrate aviation, air shows, also the airport. Um, it's also a great family event. So what I like about air shows after 22 years, I've been to 1.8 million people air shows like at Miramar. And then I've been down to the small air show, maybe 2,000 people show up and you get fried
Yeah.
chicken for a VIP. Doesn't matter. The
Nothing
really
wrong
cool
with that.
part about that is you see the kids coming out there, and I'm talking with the people and they ask questions, and you can, I don't know, it's just like one of the greatest outdoor events that you can do that's relatively inexpensive. And I play hockey, so I love hockey, and I love football, but to go to those events is very expensive. But you can
Yeah.
take your family there and just be outdoors and then just enjoy yourself, and you get to be part of the community. And I thank God for the sponsors, because they're
Yeah.
the ones that are really making the air show, and they have the investment in the community, they have an investment in the people, an investment in the air show. So thankful that they're there to help us.
No, absolutely. Because, it's up to every one of us, right? From performers to the volunteers to the fans to promote air shows, because it's how we all got our start watching air shows. When I was a kid, I know that. John, probably you the same thing, looking up into
Bob
the
Hoover.
sky. Yeah, Bob Hoover, right on. Jimmy Franklin flying an Aerostar doing aerobatics. I mean, there's countless people we watched, and now it's our turn to give back. So what other professional level entertainment can you walk up to the performers, shake their hand, ask questions? So anybody, if you see John walking around in the crowd after he's done flying, we want people to come up. John, I'm not speaking for you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Walk on up and ask the questions. You had mentioned fear, right? So people, I'm afraid to get started. I don't know how. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. This is what you do, man. I mean, so you're out here not just to fly airplanes. It's a higher purpose and what you said rings true. It is so hard to forget that solo student, how much it meant to them. It's so easy to get arrogant. It's so easy to go, well, I fly a Gulfstream, so who the heck is he? And it really is humbling to be in front of people that pay their good hard money to come out and watch a great guy like you fly and an idiot like me fly.
We're the village idiots. So,
Yeah.
Dave, what's one type of pen that you always have on you at an air show?
A Sharpie.
So, what's interesting is, and that's the number one answer from all air show pilots. We always have a Sharpie, we have autograph cards, or we can sign something else. And it's really not about glorifying us as much as it is, and Dave hit the nail on the head, is that if you go to a sporting event, it's not very likely that you're going to go down and meet with some of the sports figures. And we are so rare. I think there's 100 and some of us in North America that are professional air show pilots, part of ICAS. And so in an extreme pilot, there's less than that. There's like 30 or 35.
Yeah.
So it's not very likely, and jet pilots too, because jets are not easy and they're not cheap. So it's really rare that you find people like us. And the reality is, when I'm walking around in my flight suit, I have a Wile E. Coyote eat here neon sign going, come over and see me because I wanna visit with you. So I actually walk around the crowd. I've got autograph cards with me. I don't push that, but it's more like just to be able to meet people. And it's kind of funny because when I grew up, I was an introvert. That's where I met Bob Hoover. And I actually got to take a picture with him when I was 12 years old. So Bob Hoover is a very famous, he's a legend in the air show world because I saw him when I was 12 years old, and he flew a twin engine airplane with precision. And he did grandpa aerobatics, just nice and relaxing. And I'm like, I told my dad, I said, Dad, someday I'm going to be an air show pilot just like that, which is funny because it actually happened. And one of the statements you made, Dave, is that a few years ago, and Bob was very old a few years ago, and he passed away. But I went to see him at our ICAS convention, which is the International Council of Air Shows convention. I went to go say hi to Bob. I had never really talked to him before. And I said, Bob, I want to tell you thank you because you're the reason why I became an air show pilot. And he said, good, pass it forward, pass it along. And it was such a huge statement because all of us that are in it have a different way that we got started doing this. And everyone's the same story. Somehow it comes out about the same because we went to the airport and we're all excited about flying. And I think part of it is it's not just aviation. So if you don't want to become a pilot, that's okay.
Right.
But being involved with aviation, volunteering at the air shows, going to take your kids or grandkids over to the airport to watch planes fly, and to realize that it takes a lot to get there, but nothing happens unless you get on a dance floor and start dancing. And that's the fun part about that, me mentioning that you see this student pilot, or I meet people that have a lot of experience and then they meet me because I'm an air show pilot. We're kind of a little bit different. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're an air show pilot, only because the type of flying that we do. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Birds of a feather flock together, and you're an aviator. We don't have a lot of us here. So I want to shake your hand because you're a pilot just like me. No difference. We're both
Yeah.
pilots. So I
Or
think
any,
I think it's huge. I think it's important for people to realize that there's nothing to be afraid of. And one quick thing, Dave, even if you went to the local airport and you said, I want to go up for an introductory flight, and pick a nice day, go as an introductory flight. You'll sit in the left seat after your instructor explains some things. You'll just fly around. You're not going to go far. We call it flying around the flagpole. And then you'll put hands on. You'll be able to feel the airplane. At a minimum, I promise you this much, you'll have stories to be told. You'll tell all your friends. And either from our point of view, the virus will bite you and you get this aviation bug where you got to do it, or maybe not. But that story is what I think is important for your life to be able to share with others.
and I absolutely agree. And it's outside. I've talked to more people at air shows, I'm sure you have as well, that they may not even want to fly an airplane, but they have a dream, they have a passion, and they're watching people like us and others do what we love, what we've dreamed about, and to hear the stories. The whole purpose of this Moses Lake Live is to show the inside part of air shows, right? Although we fly
Right.
airplanes, we're people that have a dream, have a passion, have a goal, and are willing to take steps in that positive direction to make that happen. If you want to be a ballet dancer, if you want to be a race car driver, if you want to play professional soccer, it doesn't matter, but it matters to you, right? So I always tell people, is to really strive forward and listen to the stories, because we all been told no, we all been told we're not good enough, we all been told all the bad stuff that could happen. And I see Ron here. Ron, man, thank you so much for jumping on again, coming down from Calgary. That's a pretty decent drive.
I don't
And
know. Is he flying his helicopter?
I don't know.
Ron, it'd be good to see you again, by the way.
Right on. So yeah, I mean, so this is why we do what we do, right? Is just to it's our passion, and you said it, pay it forward, and the whole purpose of here is to show you the inside part of this. So part of an air show pilot, right, John? I mean, you give us a little bit of an insider thing of what kind of goes on when you show up at an air show, and maybe some of the things you think about for the aviation people here as a pilot looking at a venue before you fly your airplane. What kind of goes through your head?
Yeah, so before the air show, I mean, I've got a regular life too. So I own medical clinics. I'm playing hockey. I'm doing other things. And when I have an upcoming air show, at least 2 weeks, but more like 3 weeks out, for me, I have to get my G tolerance. What that means is I need to drink a lot of water. I need to go fly. It's not easy in Arizona in the summertime because that means you have to get up at old dark 30, Dave, for the mission. And then
Rough.
it it's just hot, and I'm like, oh God. And it's just nice to get out of here when it's really hot. Going to Washington will be great. But what I have to get my G loads up. And it may sound silly because I've been doing this for years, but I actually take tissue paper from like tissue paper and I put it on the floor and I pretend that that's my aerobatic box. So typically, I have a line. I cannot get any closer to than 500 feet, which is called a level 3 line to the crowd. And then the box might be 2,000 feet wide. It might be 6,000 feet long. And I have to stay inside this little box, but you can't really see anything other than these little markers on the ground. So depending on the air show, some are smaller, some are larger. And then also we have something that we have to deal with called density altitude. So the air gets thinner the higher up we go, or maybe the hotter it gets, or the more humidity. And I have to be prepared to go from Arizona to a new location. And so I have to mentally think about beforehand what is this box going to look like? And how can I put on the best presentation, even thinking about where the sun position is, so I don't spend all my time sitting up in front of the sun. So these are things that I prepare for. And then once I get to the air show, the hardest part is everyone knows who I am. I don't know anybody yet. So then they're like, "Hey, dude, how's it going?" And I don't know their names. And you have to switch because you're coming in, you've been flying all day from Arizona to Washington. And then I've got to be able to transition my mind that I'm in an air show. And I think that's one of the most difficult things because whatever I had behind me, my work, my other business, my wife, family, I got to let it go. And I got to hyper focus on you all to make sure that I'm putting on a good and safe show.
Yeah, and it's the basic things. It's those small things. It's going through in our head, having a backup plan, just like in life, right? Having a backup plan. What happens if this occurs? It's all things we need to consider and think about. And I think a lot of times people just think, that's why it's great to talk to air show performers like yourself, John. Somebody's been doing this a long time. I mean, because everybody keeps thinking that they're daredevils. You are a skilled professional, and this takes practice. And that's a good thing because that means anybody can go up and learn aerobatics, fly a pits, but it's going to take hard work, mentors, people like yourself, John, people that know how to fly these airplanes. And it's learnable. Anything worthwhile doing is a learnable skill. And that's so important to me at air shows because as a guy who flies corporate jets, I'm sick and tired of seeing some of the kids just push a button and think that's aviation, an aviator. So
Right.
you are flying feet on the pedals, hand on the stick. Not a guy like me that's setting the auto throttles and following a magenta line to
Well,
the
then you can fly IFR and you can, which means instrument flight rules, and you can have an autopilot, and which I love to. I have an airline transport pilot rating, and I'm instrument qualified, so I can do all that. The other flip side of that is like this pits. I have a I have an iPad, which is my GPS display map, and I'm down. I can't fly above the clouds. Legally. And so I have to stay down low sometimes, and I have to do what I have to get from point A to point B. So in my particular case, it's very much like the old days when they delivered mail back in the 20s and right before 1920. And you don't have all the things that the big airplanes have. And as I hear this sometimes, like poo-pooing is like, oh, you don't fly the big planes. I go, no, I don't. But when I get into my airplane and take off, it's kind of like if I had a long ponytail and a leather jacket and I jump on my Harley and I got to take off on this nice run. I just put my lighter clothes in the back behind me. I put the heavier stuff between my feet on a little panel that I have. Fits like a glove. I slide into this because it's only 20 feet long and about 18 feet wide. So it's real small. Looks like a remote control plane. But the cool part about that is when you first get in it, a little nervousness because you're going to go someplace different. You don't know what's going to happen. Once you get up to altitude, though, I'm going to usually cruise at like 9 to 11,000 feet. It's cool up there. And you see what God has created in the land below. And you're looking at all these people down there as you're traveling. And it's like they have houses down here, especially in the Midwest. There's all these farms and all these people have different lives. And it gives you a different perspective because it's not just about you. It's not just about the life that you live. It's all these people that you can see that they're living completely different life than you, and they got things that they're doing, and you can survey almost like watching angels, or from an angel's point of view, looking at all this stuff going on. It's actually really cool. I'm sorry because Dave and I are
I
all
love it.
hopped up about aviation, but
I love
it's
it.
it's changed our lives. It gives us a sense of purpose, and a purpose-driven life, no matter what you do, is really what makes all the difference in the world. So at the end of the day, when I'm sitting on a park bench with Dave and we're feeding the pigeons with our canes, it was like, I can't say that I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Right.
I'm going to say that I did the very best I could with what I had, and I didn't waste any of it. That's what I hope I can do, and I'm trying.
Yeah, I mean, because we're not in competition with the rest of the world. We're in competition with our own fear, to your point. Fear boss, right? We are in control of our lives. And no matter what it is, that purpose driven, why am I here? And a lot of times kids may not realize it, right? Why? I didn't know when I was a kid, why am I put here? My wife still wonders why I'm here. Um, because I'm always at the airport doing it. She goes, "Why are you here?" But
Yeah.
but the whole point of it is when you meet people in general that have something that they're striving for, they tend to be happier. They tend to be less depressed. Right? I wake up some mornings I'm not in the best of mood, and some days I'm shot out of a cannon, and that's normal. Right? That's a normal part of life. But having something in our lives, and that's why air shows are so important. I think because we bring little babies and we bring the elderly and we get to learn from each other. We get to experience some history. We look at the military aircraft and remember we live in the greatest country in the world. Um, and we give our deference and our gratitude to those people. And then we get to look at excellence demonstrated, have a great time, be out in the sun. It's far better than staring at your iPhone, looking at YouTube videos. Those are for after the air show. I did see this at one of the recent air shows, a bunch of kids, they were live streaming and they're watching the live air show on live stream on their phone.
At the air show?
Yeah, and I wanted to like
That's
grab the phone
interesting.
and
But it's actually that generation.
yeah,
This generation is the communication, how they communicate with one another. That's how we did. I think when we were younger, we would go around as a pack of people and we just sit around and talk, and that's what we did. So it is interesting because that's the route to take now. Like for example, at our home, we have dinner. There's no electronics at the dinner table. Not even me with business running. We just don't do it. So that's a hard, fast rule only out of respect. So when you go to somebody else's home, you don't do that. But that's our own, belief system. But what's interesting is you see that with kids too, and how the fear is there with kids. And I actually, David, I wrote a book and I
perfect.
released it last year, and it's called The Adventures of Jumpin' Johnny. Johnny's first airplane ride, and my mom and dad called me Jumpin' Johnny because Jonny, but my name's spelled Jon. And they always called me Jumpin' Johnny. And a few years ago, I was thinking about this because I keep running into these kids that they're afraid of stuff. But what is it, Dave, that allowed us to be able to go do the things that we do? And audience, you have things that you're experts in that not anybody else really can do that. And the only way that that happened is that you had to do some research, you got a mentor or somebody taught you. And then after that, you went and fulfilled that dream and you start doing it. So now you're an expert at what you do. And other people need to hear that too, but they don't have the same level of ignorance and stupidity that Dave and I do, because we just jump in the pool and just do it. But not everyone's like that. And so this book is actually has me in it, Jumpin' Johnny. It has two of my friends from grade school. So it's got Skip and Brian. I have the guy I used to fly in the military special ops with. His name's Skip Davenport. So Skip is Mr. Wilson, and I have my parents in there. So I made this book, and it's out of my hometown, Duluth, Minnesota, and it has a reference there just because I wanted to. And that's scary, writing your own book. There we go.
I
There's
love it.
it's the only book out there where the kid is sitting in the pilot seat flying the airplane.
That's cool.
And so, and it's really, and by the way, that blue airplane is my old Bonanza. I sold it recently, but it's got my Bonanza in it and it has my pits in it. And it's just a story. And by the way, my daughter, Jessica, she helped do the editing for me. So she wants to be a published author someday. So I made sure I included her, and that way she is now a published author as the editor, right? Helping her along to overcome those fears of something new.
Where can people get the book? I see William John Hamilton jumping out there. He one step ahead of me. Thanks, William. How do we get the book? How do we buy it?
Yeah, easy peasy, light and easy. So if you go to Amazon, it's a Amazon base, and it's both. You can get it digital copy, or you can have it sent to you. And if you just look up John Melby, that's the easiest versus trying to spell it out. Just look up JON space MELBY on Amazon. You'll find the book there. You can have it drop shipped to your house, but if you're on Amazon's reading program, then they have that for free as a reader digitally. This is a really good one, though, because I've gotten lots of pictures from people. They send it to me of reading to their kids and their grandkids and how much fun they have, especially people that know me. Because, you make a book and you give them a copy or something, or they buy it. It's like, well, I did it just to be nice. But I'm actually seeing people and their kids love it, and they're holding it around the house and they're flying airplanes, and it's exactly the model and the mode that I wanted. This is first, I created it as a series. So this is the first of the series. Once I finish my doctorate, I'm going to have another one called The Adventures of Jumpin' Johnny. Johnny joins a band. Johnny plays hockey, and I used to be a professional skier. Johnny learns to ski. So it's all kind of the light story about me, but it's stuff that I can write about that I want people to try because I think they'll have fun.
That's I love it. Look at that.
That's
Man, you're a
multi-talent. February, rocking out with the kids I was playing with. They were like 19 or 20, the band, and they're from the Luke Air Force Base Band. They said, "Come on up and rock with us." Okay, and I was playing a couple songs, one from Weezer and some other song, and I play rhythm electric. And we're just having fun. It's really go fly the airplane, then jump on the band, play a little bit, go fly the airplane. It's fun.
You know what? It's what you make of it, right? You're out there doing it, and it would be scary for me. I'd be fearful to play guitar. I don't know how to do it, but you do far more things than I do. This is great. I mean, it's to come out and do this and have more than one thing, right? We're human beings are not just one-stop shops. If you are, that's called an addiction. And yes, we have addictions. I mean, I had to be addicted to something. It's airplanes. But multifaceted, right? Look at all the things you've done. And then some people will say, well, I'd love to write a book, right? You have a book. You're also an airshow pilot. You've also done other things. You're in the military, professional sports player. So, right, there never is a limit except what we place upon ourselves.
You're right, Dave. I see people, I have friends of mine that are excellent at what they do. They're top notch. They're very competitive, and they focus on the one thing. And I love that about them because they're the best at what they do, or the top tier. I'm not. I'm not the. I don't know. I'm best at anything, but no, I'm the best husband there ever was. No, I'm the best airshow pilot. I'm the best airshow pilot in the world, as voted by my mother.
There you go. I love it.
But the thing is that it's about being the variance, because when you have your group of friends, for example, and this is my core belief, you have your group of friends, and then you end up finding division because you have your group of friends and whatever the belief system is. When I jumped up on the band with some 20-year-olds, and they're like, their producers once said, he's going to play with you at the air show. And they're like, okay. After I got done playing with them, they said, you can rock with us anytime. So I'm building this relationship. And when you start doing new things, even volunteering at the air show, Moses Lake Air Show, you volunteer for that, how cool it is. because you can go and meet new people. We have something called the experimental renaissance man,
I
except I'm
love
not from the
that.
17th century. But thank you. But well, the thing is that like when you go to these air shows, you can see Experimental Aircraft Association,
Mhm,
Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association,
mhm.
the Civil Air Patrol. Those are the ones that are launched. That's an auxiliary of the Air Force. So if something happens where perhaps I go down with my airplane for whatever reason, or they just can't find me because I didn't check in or something, they will launch this airplane out, and they have kids that can be part of that at age of 8, 9 years old to adults that supervise it, and now you're part of the auxiliary of the Air Force called the Civil Air Patrol. So in the aviation world, there's all these things you can get involved with, but even outside of that, going to the air show, if you go out and branch out and go see some of the vendors and talk to some of the people, the cool part about that, you never know who you're going to meet because you got out of your house, you went
Yep,
someplace different. This is fear management. Instead of going
yep.
to the same place for lunch every day, try something different and see if you can meet somebody. And if even if you're afraid a little bit to talk to somebody, all you have to do is ask something about themselves. Like if I ask Dave, Dave, tell me about yourself. The problem solved. Dave will go and launch all the things that he's done and what he's doing because he's the type of person who knows how to talk about stuff. That's why he's the host of this show. And you can ask questions and you can also explain with articulate manner all about him.
That's true. It's I'm getting another message here. Is it Wingman Larry? Volunteers are key. They are. That's a great reminder, and I appreciate those comments, John. Make sure when you come out to the air show, please thank the volunteers. They have got, they're working hard out there. They're helping you park your car, find out where the trash cans are, whatever that is. Don't give the volunteers a hard time. Thank them. And if you want to support air shows, become a volunteer, right? If you can't find a role model in life, become one. And if you can't get involved with something, volunteer for it. Be of service, not expecting
So they
of
all have to
people.
do, Dave, heavy labor as a volunteer. So maybe explain what types of volunteers are. What types of things can they do?
They could do anything, right? I mean, have a skill, right? I mean, no matter what skill you have, chances are if you call or if you step forward, and correct me if I'm off base, if you step forward in life, no matter who you want to be or hang out with, I always say stand in the middle of people that are already doing what it is you want to do and be of service. And then say, look, I know how to do this. How can I be of service to you? And it may not be flying a Pitts at an air show initially, but I'm sure you need help in what you do. I need help in what I do. I encourage people all the time, come on out to the airport where I'm based and say, look, can I be of help? So at the air show, you can do anything from marketing to cleanup to parking cars to building websites, you name it. Air shows need us. So just don't be somebody who shows up, be somebody who shows up and adds value.
It
And
feels
boy,
good
what
too after
it
you.
does.
I mean, I know the work that goes into putting on an air show. I mean, a whole year to make the air show happen. And as a business owner, there's a lot of work behind the scenes. And then Dave, you and I show up to fly the air show, and we have our own set of work to do, but it's usually something that's set over and over again. But with the volunteers, and when I'm there, they usually have a VIP area, which I go talk to all the sponsors. I know Dave does too, because that's important for us to be there. But I also like going to the volunteer area, stopping by, shaking a hand, having a sandwich and a pop or something to drink, because this is like if you're in a band and you're playing in a big, huge stage, then you've got the band members, but then all the other people to make that happen. And I don't ever discount that because it's all part of one team. Everyone has a role to play. And then I'm a team sports person, hockey, skiing, all the other things, playing in a band. You just this or flying in the Air Force. I flew in a multi-crew aircraft, so we had 11 of us on board. And one person fails, then we could get killed. So it was like it's something I think is really important. And what you'll learn when you do this is you're part of this team, and it feels good at the end of the day. And after you're done with it, you might work hard, you might be a little sore, maybe not. But at the end of the day, you could say, I did this. And you can check that off, and it's something you do every year as part of the Moses Lake Air Show. I think it's every other year for them, and it's something fun. And then maybe it'll cause you to do other volunteering opportunities to give back to your community, which, by the way, is what it's all about, I think.
Right.
Giving back.
Right on. Ladies and gentlemen, John Melby, Fear Boss. So you're going to watch him fly some super high energy aerobatics at the Moses Lake Air Show. But the purpose today, you're meeting the man inside of that cockpit. Good guy. John, I really enjoyed speaking with you. We went long, but I think it was worth it because knowing the people that are behind the scenes putting this together, so much thanks to you. Please go get the book. Look up John Melby on Amazon and get the children's book. Say the name of the children's book again because I'm failing as a host.
It's called The Adventures of Jumpin' Johnny. You can see it there. Johnny's first airplane ride. Just look up my name, John Melby, on Amazon. They'll drop ship it to you in a couple of days.
Right on. And bring that book, and John may actually sign it for you. I don't want to put you on the spot.
I have a Sharpie with me at all times.
There you go. I love it. John, thank you so much. And thanks, everybody, for joining us on another Moses Lake Live. Semper Fi, brother. Thanks for your service in the Air Force from a jarhead that eats crayons. Ladies and gentlemen, this is David Costa. I am the Renegade Aviator. See ya.
God bless you all.